I just noticed Strange New World series premiere quietly paid tribute to two Star Trek heroes. When Star Trek Strange New Worlds premiered, it marked a triumphant return to the franchise's roots, episodic storytelling, hopeful exploration, and a character-driven ensemble led by a charismatic captain. But buried beneath the sleek design, philosophical dilemmas, and space-faring action of its pilot episode was a quiet yet powerful tribute to two of Star Trek's most enduring heroes, Captain Christopher Pike and Dr. Leonard "Bones" McCoy. You might not have noticed it at first. I certainly didn't. But on rewatching the Strange New Worlds pilot, it became clear that the spirit of both characters deeply informed the tone and emotional architecture of the episode. One is honored directly through Pike's arc and the show's premise. The other through a quiet, character-driven homage nestled in the behavior of a certain irascible doctor. Together, these subtle nods anchor the series in Star Trek's legacy while pushing boldly into the future. The Pike legacy, a captain haunted, but hopeful. Let's start with the more obvious of the two, Captain Christopher Pike. Pike, played by the stoic and deeply human Anson Mount, was already a fan favorite from Star Trek Discovery. But Strange New Worlds gave him the spotlight and the burden he deserved. What many fans forget is that Pike was the original captain of the Enterprise in the unaired pilot The Cage, later reintroduced in the Menagerie. In that arc, he's presented as a competent, courageous officer whose fate, being confined to a wheelchair after a radiation accident, looms tragically over Star Trek lore. In the Strange New Worlds premiere, Pike is still grappling with the vision of this very future, a fate shown to him during his time on Discovery. He's not the idealistic, square-jawed hero we might expect. He's wrestling with the knowledge that he's going to suffer and die saving others. He's hesitant to return to duty, isolating himself in snowy Montana, bearded and uncertain. But here's where the tribute happens, not in a line, but in the journey. The premiere is about Pike choosing hope over fear. It's about a man who knows what's coming and still decides to do the right thing. He returns to the Enterprise, not because he's ready, but because people need him. That moral courage, that unwavering commitment to others even in the face of personal doom, is the very essence of Pike from the Menagerie. Strange New Worlds doesn't just revive Pike, it recontextualizes him. His legacy as one of Starfleet's finest is not just earned by his command, it's earned by his humanity. The pilot episode pays tribute to that humanity, capturing what made Pike a Star Trek hero long before Kirk ever took the center seat. A quiet homage to Dr. Leonard "Bones" McCoy. The second tribute is subtler, but just as poignant. It lies in the introduction of Dr. Joseph M'Benga, played by Babs Oluseun-Mokin. While M'Benga is his own character, appearing first in the original series, his depiction in Strange New Worlds carries distinct echoes of Dr. Leonard McCoy. The comparison isn't cosmetic. It's about the energy, the values, and the bedside manner that defined Bones throughout TOS and the films. In the pilot, M'Benga walks a fine line between compassion and professionalism. He's calm, but passionate. He values emotional honesty, doesn't hide behind clinical detachment, and clearly cares deeply for his patients, even if they're sometimes alien. Just like Bones, he injects a dose of soul into a starship filled with logic and protocol. But the biggest McCoy moment, it comes when M'Benga interacts with Nurse Chapel and Spock. The trio's chemistry teases the early dynamics of Bones, Chapel, and Spock from the original series, with M'Benga delivering warmth, quips, and grounded wisdom that McCoy once wielded like a medical tricorder. Where McCoy was the conscience of the original Enterprise, it looks like M'Benga might serve a similar role here. He's not a clone of McCoy, but his presence is a loving nod to what Bones brought to the bridge, a reminder that science and exploration are only as noble as the people doing the exploring. Tributes in tone, not just names. What's remarkable is how Strange New Worlds doesn't rely on heavy-handed Easter eggs to honor these characters. Instead, it lets the tone of the show speak. Pike's inner struggle and resolve feel like a direct extension of classic Trek ideals, moral courage, leadership through empathy, and the burden of command. M'Benga, meanwhile, brings the same grounded, emotional intelligence that made McCoy a fan favorite. These aren't just character callbacks. They're thematic tributes. Strange New Worlds is telling us. We